Hello to all of our Westmoreland Sports Network listeners. My name is Hannah Mears, alongside one of Westmoreland County's finest athletes ever, and I will take that to the grave, Mrs. Maddie Nichol, formerly Maddie Holmberg. Tell me, does it feel a little weird to hear Maddie Nichol now instead of Maddie Holmberg?
Yeah, I mean, it's super weird. And before we were actually married, I didn't really say it much. And then all of a sudden we're married, and I'm like, Maddie Nichol, and I confused people all season with it. But yeah, I'm proud to be Maddie Nichol. So.
And you should be proud. Her husband, a standout phenom wrestler from Penn State as well. So the gene pool there is phenomenal in their household. But he should be very proud of you, even though you're very proud to be Maddie Nichol now, because you have just come out of the Olympic trials as a heptathlete and finished in the top 10 at number 7. So tell me, what are all of the emotions now that you've had a couple days to process what you just accomplished? What are you feeling wrapping all of this up?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question because, I know that, you guys as like interviewers and broadcasters, you're right down on the sidelines and you're getting that raw emotion, which actually is just like totally different after you've had a few days to process, so immediately after I'm thinking like an athlete, right? I'm thinking like all the areas I could improve, what I did well, what I'm going to do better next time, all this stuff. And then after a few days to process, I'm just like, wow, like that was the coolest experience of my life so far, honestly. Like and there was so much emotion, especially in the heptathlete. I mean, you have 7 events, it's 2 days, you have to stay dialed in. Things go well, things don't go well, and you're just like these highs and lows. But honestly, it's such a privilege to feel those emotions. And I'm just like, in hindsight, I'm like, wow, like that was like, I'm living my life. Like, this is so cool that I get to go out and be and choose this pressure and challenge myself and see what I'm made of. So, yeah, that's been kind of my reflection over the past few days. So.
And I know you were saying there's a lot of highs and lows that come with this entire experience, but I think you more than anyone earned this moment in such a way and have such an appreciation for it because of everything you've been through as an athlete. I mean, even at the high school level, you've accomplished everything you pretty much could, but that came with struggle and injury. And then being in college, a ton of struggle and injury. And then finally you're feeling really good, on top of the Big Ten, going into nationals, and a pandemic happens. So tell me what it was like to make sure that you were channeling those emotions in a way that they didn't hinder you from continuously having hope for the next season, as well as maintaining a physical performance, because like you said, peaking at the right time is really big. So explain to me that entire year to get to this point.
Yeah, I mean, and then even the year before that, I redshirted my 2019 outdoor. My coach was diagnosed with cancer. So we just decided to sit it out and wait for 2020 and hope to kind of peak for the Olympics. And then, like you said, it got canceled because of COVID. And it's just one of those things where throughout my career, I've learned to just see obstacles and challenges, and regardless of like plain and simple, like they suck, but as just opportunities to see what I'm made of. I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, bring it. We'll see. And again, it was really hard, but when your why is so clear, it makes things a lot easier. I'm not just kind of riding the wave of emotions each day when I know for certain what I want. And again, my kind of broader picture of my why. But like you said, I remember my freshman year or it was my sophomore year when I had got hurt at Big Tens, and I was crying to my coach, and he said, when you see those Olympians and they're crying after they make the Olympic team, he's like, they're not just like happy. He's like, they're crying because they know what they went through to get to this moment, and it's so beautiful and it's so worth it. And I remembered that, and I'm like, this is my story, and this is the story I'm going to tell, and I'm excited about it, and let's see what I got.
And you should be excited about it. And we got a glimpse of what you can bring to the table over this past week, taking 7th. And also continuously throughout this season, what always followed those little articles was, Maddie Holmberg places at this spot and she beats it's her personal best. She beats her records before. You were constantly progressing in a way that I feel like you have to have so much self-satisfaction out of that, knowing you're moving the right steps forward all the time. So tell me, when you're there and you're competing in these events, what events were you feeling really good about, bad about? Wrap up the entire 7-event series that you had.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was actually interesting because, again, after I got sick in February, and then I actually had, I had a quad tweak coming in, and it was miraculously good for Big Tens. And then another little setback before nationals, but pulled through and competed at nationals. So I would say definitely along the way there were performance, goals that I accomplished, but also just little wins along the way of showing up and giving my all, no matter what that looked like. But again, going into the hurdles this week, I was very calm and collected, which I'm proud to say, because sometimes the nerves can get the best of you before the first event. And I was excited about hurdles. It's such a rush of adrenaline, and then you kind of have to calm it down for high jump, right? Because there's like that finesse in high jump. And I was happy with my high jump, because it was a season best, I think tied for my PR. But I was feeling really good about high jump. That's kind of my kryptonite. But it was I just had fun, and I was cheering for the other girls, and we got to bond and everything. Shot put actually didn't go well for me, and I threw a lot lower than my best. And it's just like the brutal, reality of being a heptathlete, that things don't go smoothly as much as we train and practice. Like there's just stuff that comes up. But I, again, have learned over the years that you've got to just move forward. Like you can't, you have to have just that short-term memory. And I went out for the 200. I got to see my girl Bridget right before, and that kind of gave me a little burst. She was competing in the pole vault. So I was like, let's get this. Like, let's just, and I went out and I was happy with that. Again, know I need to work on my speed work, but then had to just recover and go into day 2. Had one of my best long jumps of the year, so I was excited. I was getting the crowd involved. I had just adrenaline, like I was shaking. It was, again, just so fun. Like it was so fun. And then jab was a whirlwind, because I had to make a protest on the throw, but it was a season best throw, so I was happy. And I had that momentum going into the 800. And then there was a heat delay, and we ran the 800 at 9 p.m. because it cooled down to like a crisp 97 from 112. But again, it was just, and it's such a ride. And every time I'm done, I'm like, dang, that was fun. And this is why I do this, so.
And let's not forget that it was 9 p.m. your time. But if you were back here, that event was occurring at midnight. We were staying up to watch. So for everyone knowing like what your sleep schedule would have to been like, you don't typically compete at midnight. So that was probably a challenge in itself. But in terms of the other setbacks you had, tell me what was sort of going through your head in terms of, it was great you had the support to help with video reviews, but talking about setbacks, you're there, you throw your best jab of your career, and it's saying it's fouled, not once, but twice. So how were you dealing with that, and who were you reaching out to? What was that process like to make sure that you got that jab into the score system?
Yeah, it was so interesting. I've never experienced that before. And again, it was just that when I made the throw, I have a great, view of the trajectory. Like I could see the tip coming down. And for those who don't know, I mean, a foul is if it lands flat or if it lands with the back end first. And they were saying that it landed flat, and I was like, I can see that it landed with the tip down. And again, I never get like rowdy or like with officials or calls or anything like that, but I was like, I know in my heart that was a fair throw. So they told me I could protest. I knew on my third throw, I was like, hey, you got to stay composed, and you have to just get a throw in. You need a mark. And so that's what I did, and I was happy that I did that. But going into the protest, I was like, hey, we're moving forward as if we're not getting this call, because we're not letting this dip of emotions come before the 800. Like I can't go in with no momentum. So I was like, hey, we're just going to run our heart out. So, but again, I made a post on social media, and I was like, if anyone has footage, please send it, because USATF can use it. NCAA, you can't do that, but USATF does. And I did. I had probably 15 people send me a recording of my jab, and they were able to watch it, and they called it fair. So I got the mark. But yeah, that was interesting. I had to work for that one, but worth it.
So worth it. And I mean, it boosts your point system at the end. So, and it got you to 7th place, which is a phenomenal feat to get. But then you're set back again because we talked about the running. So what were you doing in that period of time? How long did you actually have to wait to run the 800? And I've run the 800 before. It's not an event you really like to wait around and push off more than you have to. So what were you doing in that time and how long was it?
I know. Well, I mean, I think we wrapped up around javelin around 3 p.m. We were supposed to run at like around 4, and they came in, and we actually had one of our heptathletes go down in the jav because it was so hot, and I think that they just knew it was a safety matter. By the time we were going to run, it was supposed to be about 112, and they were estimating like close to 150 degrees on the track, which is just insane, and it just became a safety issue. And so, so they said, we're going to run at 9 p.m. because that was like when the sun went down, because it was not going to cool down until then. So, the first thing I did after getting my protest was I called my dietitian and I said, hey, we're changing gears here. Like, what should I do? What should I prepare? And again, I'm studying nutrition, but you got to turn to the experts in times like that. So I made sure that I ate. I actually went back to the hotel room with Bo and like showered. I watched TV. I tried to just kind of unwind, and then headed over around 7 to kind of get back in the zone. But yeah, it's a long time to stay dialed in, and but I got a little extra recovery, and I was just trying to see the bright side in it. But yeah, and not having to run 112 degree weather. It's definitely a bright side. So.
And then you're sort of under the lights. I don't know, maybe that gives you a little bit more of an adrenaline
it
rush.
was cool.
Yeah.
It was a very cool vibe. Yeah, for sure.
There you go. See, everything happens for a reason. You have to think of it that way in times like that. I think so too. But someone really important in your life that you mentioned before was Bridget Williams, who also a standout athlete from Westmoreland County, a phenomenal pole vaulter. She was at UVA as well in her college career, and she just hits mark after mark. And consistently, I just watch her get stronger and always is beating her personal best too. So it's great to see you both moving forward into Olympian status, and she placed very well as well. 8th, I want to say, in pole vault. So you guys were right there in your systems, and hers is so different because everyone can be hitting the same mark, but it's just different ways to score it. But tell me, she was your neighbor growing up. You guys were like in diapers together, competed all through elementary and junior high and high school, and then separated in college, but got to compete at the Olympic trials together to try to represent the USA at the Olympics. So talk about how special that moment is with her and what your journey was together.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly unlike anything else, and that's what her and I say. Like, we've been through pretty much every milestone together. We won our first state championship together in high school, and then we became All-Americans on the same day in college, and now here we are. We got married in the same year, and now we're, competing at the Olympic trials together, and it was just so cool to be out there at least, that week with her, because we went to dinner the night before she competed for the first time, and it's just kind of brings you back down the center. And we did that before nationals a few years ago too. And just to have that familiar face and like someone who knows you, knows what you've been through to get where you are. And, it's the coolest moment. And when I was out on the field and I was throwing shot put, and she was walking out into the field for her finals, and I just ran over and gave her a hug, and like instantly just had like tears come to my eyes, because I'm like, we freaking did this, and we're gonna do this together. And it's just so special. And again, I know what she's gone through. She's gone through injury. She's gone through coaching changes. She's gone through having a long distance relationship, with her now husband, and it's tough. And we know the sacrifices, and there's such a mutual respect for each other, and as people and as athletes. And I truly just think we make each other better. We always, in pivotal moments, kind of seek each other out, because I trust her and her judgment and her word, and she trusts mine, and it's a really awesome relationship that we have, and I know that it'll carry us through, and hopefully the Olympics in 2024. So I
got chills when you're talking about that. I mean, I've competed against you guys in high school, and it's just like, it was always amazing to see those types of athletes that you admired growing up, and were always the big competition. Seeing you do it on the biggest stage together is just, it's heartwarming. Everyone in Westmoreland County is very proud of both of you, so I have no doubts about that. But something I also think is phenomenal is got to watch a lot of Penn Staters compete, you being one of them. But there was also a lot of heptathlete women that were just phenomenal, and you got to do victory laps with them at the end and jump into the puddles or the steeplechase like crazy on the track as well. And one in particular, there was an athlete, Lindsay, who competed 18 weeks pregnant. Like, tell me about the bonds you made with these heptathlete women and how they inspired you to be better, because there's just some phenomenal women that do what you do. 7 events at this is not easy, and to do it like that as well, you had to have been like, this is crazy.
Yeah, and that's what, it's something that's kind of transitioned from, through my college career. Like, I used to kind of at meets just kind of like stay in my own zone. I would talk to my teammates. I would talk to you, like people like you and stuff. But for the most part, I just kind of like kept to myself, did my thing. And just when you transition into college, especially as a heptathlete, and you're spending 2 days with these women, and especially at this level when we're at the trials, and there's it's just a mutual respect, honestly. Like, it's just like, hey, like, let's do this. I know what you did to get here. You know what I did to get here. And even when girls do well, when you didn't do as well, like, there's that competitive nature innately that you're like, oh, shoot. Like, at the same time, you're like, go off. You're like, good for you. Like, it's hard to get to this level, and it's hard to execute at this level. So when you see someone do that, it's more like just like a hats off mentality. But again, we get to hang out, we get to kind of bond, and we know that things there's highs and there's lows, and we just kind of really do support each other. But yeah, again, with Lindsay, I mean, coming out being 18 weeks pregnant, it just, I love that. I think that she's showing all the things that women can do, and that there's nothing that's going to hold us back from the things that we love. And she was smart about it. It was really hot, and heptathlon is nothing to shake a stick at. It's not an easy task. But she was smart with it, and she went out and she wanted to have one last ride before, she transitioned into motherhood. And it was so cool. I just think that heptathletes are warriors. And at the end, we just kind of bonded in our victory lap, and we're hugging, and we have all the endorphins going, So, and then we, stay in contact and support each other. So yeah, it's unlike anything else. It's really cool.
Well, we are very proud of you for being one of our warriors from Westmoreland County and representing incredibly at the Olympic trials. Hats off to you. Such a phenomenal thing to even just be at, and let alone have the success you did. But I know that's not going to be the last time we see you at that level. I know you're only going to get better and stronger at everything that you do. You just have that mentality. You have the fitness page going, all your nutrition. And so just so excited to watch you on your journey. But that being said, what's next for you in your career?
Yeah, I mean, from right now, I just know that I want to take some time to kind of recover and reflect still. And especially after this just crazy year that we had, and not being able to be like a normal person, with all the restrictions and everything. But all I know is I want to keep going. And I know, and this meet just sparked something in me, like, that I didn't even know. I thought I was motivated before, and now I'm like, I can do this. Like, this is, this is fun. This is what I want to do. It challenges me. It makes me better as a person. And, I know I want to keep training. I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm still getting my master's, and, I mean, my husband's here, my family's here. So we still have to kind of figure some things out. But all I know is I want to keep going. So.
Well, we hope you keep going too, because it's been a pleasure to watch you over the years and grow into this beautiful woman and wife and athlete that you are. So congratulations on everything. If I had a DH bubbly bar champagne, I'd pop it for you right now. So.
Cheers.
So shout out to Maddie's mom, who has an awesome little champagne cart. If you have any parties, hit her up, because it looks like a lot of fun. So follow that as well. I'm excited, but I would hope that everyone pops a bottle of champagne in your honor today as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on all of your success and future endeavors to come.
Thanks, Hannah.